Okay, so I did a research on crime and marijuana, the effects of legalization on violent and property crime arrest. And this is going to be a video of the presentation about this research. I apologize for this video quality, but it is what it is. So basically, let's get started. So introduction. I focus on three major laws surrounding marijuana legalization, with the first one being medical legalization, which is currently legal in 35 states. Um, then I looked at recreational legalization, which is legal in 10 states plus DC. Lastly, I have decriminalization, which is legal or decriminalized in 24 states. I know that doesn't add up to 50, but some states have like both. Some like I don't know. Don't worry about that. I'll get into that in a second. Um, but lastly, it is illegal in 14 states. So basically, this is like a map of how like the laws are. So like the dark forest green, that's like fully legal. Um, I know all the greens is kind of the same. I don't know why it was. That's not the point. The point is marijuana laws is like mad different across the United States. So um, there's going to be like a lot of variation between states for arrest rates based on marijuana because they all have different laws. But I control for this, so I'm gonna explain it in a little bit. So basically, I was reading some, literature or scholarly articles, as we like to call it at Grinnell. I couldn't really find any based on off of what I was trying to look for. Um, but so some were like it increased crime, but those papers, they were not good. Okay, they were, they had some flaws in the way they conducted their research. So basically, these people they looked at the drug users like after they got arrested, and then like this, they said 30 to 60% of adult males tested positive for marijuana use, but that was like after they got arrested, and they're like they tested them for marijuana, and they're like, all these people have marijuana in their system. It's bad. Let's make it a Schedule 1 drug. But I mean, obviously, like maybe like that's just not. It was just bad research. I'm not gonna get into that. That's not the point. Um, there was some for like decreased crime, but it wasn't like really what I was trying to look for. So basically, they were just like looking at like the neurological effects of it and saying like, oh, it decreases, violence. It's just like basically it makes everyone mellow, so like they're not gonna do anything. But like that wasn't really like I'm looking for like hard evidence of like decreased arrest rates. Yeah, so I got some data. I used the difference in difference, was basically looking at like before a law is passed, how many people were arrested versus after a law was passed, how many people were arrested. Um, and like the treatment variables for is like the before and after. So I have medical, recreational, and decriminalization. And then I'm looking at the natural log of violent crime, which is basically going to tell me the percent change in violent crime, which is a combination of those four crimes. And then I have the natural log of property crime, which is the four of those. This is not making too much sense. I'll try clarify it in a bit. This is just economic stuff, statistical stuff. It's not really that important. Basically, what's important is the results, which I get to in a second. But I got to go through the data, which comes from the FBI, the feds, um, and it's a complete data set. There's a lot of stuff in it. But the cons, this is what I'm like actually like was upsetting, is it doesn't have like the individual level data stuff, meaning like it doesn't say if the person was black, or it doesn't say if the person was white or like low income, since like those areas are like affected differently. Like everyone doesn't experience like the same amount of arrest. So this is basically like an average of all people. It might be misleading because like let's say for example like it might be, yeah, I mean I'll get into that in a second, but basically like let's say black people, the arrest rates actually went up, but like for white people went down a lot. Like in this, like the black people wouldn't be enough to like make my results like say it goes up. Like on average, arrest rates would go down, even though like potentially the arrest rates for black people might go up. But that's just difficult. I don't have the data for, but I'll go into that in a second. These are my results. That down. This is just a lot of numbers. I'll explain what that means. All right, so basically, so when medical marijuana laws are passed, there's a decrease in violent crime arrests by 4.3% and property crime arrests by 5.9%. So there's like a lot of like decreasing crime once the laws are passed. And then the same thing for the passing of a recreational marijuana laws. Violent crime goes down 4.2%, property crime goes down by 7.2%. Decriminalization, it doesn't really do anything in the tables. If you see, there's no like significant evidence. So essentially what I'm like hypothesizing is when medical marijuana laws are passed and recreational marijuana laws are passed, the access to these drugs like increases. So the necessity for, you know, like drug dealers and like drug lords and stuff like that is not as like necessary. So like the arrests go down because there's like less illegal drug dealing. Does this like actually make a difference? And what I mean by that is like, is like passing these marijuana laws like actually going to make a difference in the people arrested? Like based on this, it does say yes, but like based on other research, like we've seen that the number of people arrested is rapidly increasing. So there might be some overlap. Basically, like with marijuana laws passing, they might be just arresting people not for marijuana but for different things. But this research does show that marijuana laws are good for decreasing crime, and decreasing crime decreases arrest. I can't conclude whether or not this is better for black people, white people, low income, high income. This is essentially an average of all people, but from what I'm like gaining from this data is that there will be a decrease in crime. So now, I mean, not only will it like decrease crime, you know, there's increase in jobs, stuff like that. It's decriminalizing behaviors that some people will take part in more than others. All in all, it's a good thing to decriminalize marijuana and legalize it recreationally and medically. And that's basically it. Thank you for watching this video.